Book Club. My name is Titilayo, so it's a pleasure to be on air with you once again. And today we have a captivating book that we're going to be focusing on. It's here to resonate with students, with young professionals, and anyone seeking to excel on their journeys. And everyone has a journey, but it depends on what sort of journey you've decided to embark on. Hmm? Especially when it comes to acting like a student, like someone who's interested in learning, like someone who's interested in being mentored, but then also speaking like a boss, like someone who owns their space, like someone who wants to take control of their futures. We have with us, joining us on the On Air Book Club, Mr. Nelson Etah. He has authored the book called Act Like a Student and Speak Like a Boss. The book is essentially a practical guide to communicating with power and purpose. It's great to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Titi, for having me. Really, really good to be here.
It's been a long time coming, this conversation of ours. We've been hoping to have this conversation for a long time, yes?
Right, right. And for some reason, we couldn't have it. But, well, like you say, God's maybe this is God's time. And it's what?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. It is. All right. So you need to let us in on this journey because you are a broadcast journalist, you're a communications and personality development trainer. And it's been said that you believe in the power of and the efficacy of words as you've been training lots of people and organizations as well. You need to let us in on the journey. How did this all?
Well, again, thank you very much, Titi, for having me here. Um, this book became necessary because after about 6 years of going around the country, especially the north, the southeast, training organizations, NGO, graduate, undergraduates. When I'm talking about organization, I'm referring to banks, telecom networks, and also churches, right? And as I also relate to people in life daily basis, whether it's on the work or any other kind of front, I discovered that words are very convey our thoughts, feelings, our ideas, our perspectives strongly matter. If you use the wrong word,
Okay, so it does seem like we've lost a connection there with Nelson, and hopefully we'll be able to reconnect with him soon enough. It is the On Air Book Club, and my name is Titila Omi. So this is the book today. A student speak like a boss. A little insight into the book here online. It's available on Amazon.com right now. And if you would like to check it out, I suggest you do. There's a foreword here by Yemi Davies. And as I said earlier, it is all about personality and communication. It's considered a workbook in Nelson's opinion here. And I'm so interested in finding out more about this particular book because he's been able to speak on it quite a bit at different fora. Now, let's read from the back of the book, shall we? It says here, if you've ever felt like there is more to you than what you are either experiencing or unleashing, then this book is your personal key to unlocking the treasures silent in the solitude of your mind and give it full expression through your words, your personality, and attitude. Verbally, and non-verbally, with the way you talk, the way you walk, dress, and carry yourself. It's all about communicating on purpose and communicating with purpose. It says here also at the back of the book that he has put together something that will help you learn about communication, about it being more who you are before what you say. Beneath your voice is a person, he says. Act like a student, speak like a boss, communicating with power and purpose. That's the book we're focusing on the On Air Book Club for today. Hopefully he'll be able to reconnect with us now. Hello, Nelson. You're back. You're back?
Okay. Sure that I was really. Can we hear me? Can you?
All right, then.
Are we good? Mm. Oh, Lord. Are we good? Okay, I need to reconnect.
I guess we are all students at this. We are
I
students,
would think
all
so.
learners. When it comes to the mind of its own sometimes. Yes.
I don't know why this is happening on a very auspicious day as this one. However, well, like you said, we're students. Yeah.
I was about to read from the book actually.
Okay. What page? What chapter?
From part 3, which says communicate, and communicate has a question mark. You say communicate in a question, and you say here, this is the message. Communication is an art, which means it is a process that can be learned. A matured and a well-balanced personality cannot release, utter, or express some words or send a certain kind of message. Kings have a way they talk, and you are a king. In Igbo, the eastern part of Nigeria, says words are the oil that with which we eat yam. Words are the oil with which we yam. Your ability to frame your words constructively, accurately, and articulate with flavor and power, point after point, is what drives your rich information into the hearts and minds of your listeners. It's important and vice versa. The message here refers to the content of your intent. Powerful passage there. Nelson, you need to break it down.
Woo! As you reading it, I mean that hit me so hard. I'm like, oh, did I write that? Yes, I did. I did wrote that. If you can you see here, Titi?
Yeah.
Great, great. Yeah, thank you. That takes me back a little bit to when you asked the question, what made me wrote the book? Um, I was speaking at a conference in 2012. 2012, yes. The conference was called Speech, Career, and Business Development Conference. Speech, Career, and Business Development Conference. This was in Ebonyi State. And we had about 2,000 persons or 1,000 plus persons in attendance for that conference. It was a 2-day conference. And so I spoke on the second day, Saturday it was a Friday, Saturday. 5 minutes or thereabout into my time to talk, I mean, everybody was standing up. And I thought, okay, what exactly are you guys standing up to?
Okay.
And can you still hear me? I want to be sure you can still hear me, Titi. Yes, you can. Yeah. All right. Maybe I keep on. And so I realized that it became a very powerful thing with the kind of words they were hearing, as opposed to what was the norm about communication. Because again, that was what I was to talk about, communication, right? How to move and drive your business to the next level, your career pursuit to the next level. And so word after word, point after word, point, coherently, they were hearing something I would say nuggets, pragmatic nuggets with which you can use, tools with which you can handle to move your life forward. When I realized the impact of that session with them people, I was advised by the organizer of that conference, Nelson, it is time you need to put this in a book. That was how the journey of this book began. However, in breaking that down, you asked me to. Communication is not just English words or Yoruba or Efik or Ibibio or any other one in that sense. communication is like a seed. It's like, permit me to go a bit sexual now. Words are like the seed of a man injected into the ovary of a woman. If it does
Okay.
not have the right quality and at the right quantity, then
Okay.
you can have a stillborn or a stillbirth. And so
Mm.
that understanding helped me to know that you don't just say anything that comes out of your mouth. You have to be intentional when you want to speak. You don't just make a statement because it sounds good. You have to speak to a target. You have to speak to a goal. You have to speak with a purpose at heart. What do you hope to achieve at the end of this conversation? And it's not about you being a speaker. It's about you just being a wife, a husband, a career person, anybody at any time. Whether you're speaking to your children or to your husband or as a pastor, preaching, anything at all. As long as it is you expressing words out of your mouth, you have to speak to a target. You have to speak with a goal at heart. And so I began to understand that, look, it's not about you sounding high. It's about you making impact. It's about you achieving a result or a goal out of this exchange you are having with a person or a people. And so for you to have the adequate, efficient exchange and result, you need to be able to seed in the right words so that you can, bring out the right result that you hope to achieve. Because I can tell you are stupid in a very funny and nice way. And all of us be laughing over the matter. Guess what? I was also making fun of it. But there's a way I can tell you are stupid and you'll be furious because of the way I also seeded the word in a very furious way. Said I get what I but if I intended you to laugh and then I seeded it in a furious way, how do I would expect you can't laugh. So that is what I talk about when I refer to that passage, please.
Mm, mm. So you can literally give
I'm very, very hot.
a polite, so polite insult
Yeah, yeah.
be accepted on a particular public before
Well,
you speak, you need to understand how to use words adequately.
yeah,
Now I want to
yeah.
jump over to page 59. You say how to use words. Use words in
Mm,
context. Avoid lingering
mm.
with explanations before arriving at your point. Choose the words for appropriate in the context with your communicated idea, and do not slug, or rather, slug in your speech. Be exact, on point, and brisk with your speech. Think and evaluate your words before using them. Would you like to break that down for us?
Absolutely. If you have a 5 minutes to express yourself before a panel, what would you say? I'll give you a typical example. The first night, and I don't want to name specifically, the first night I met a particular governor, I was to interview him, and we had been in talks, not with him directly now, with his team back and forth. And so finally, we were invited to his house to speak to him. The very first night, I I was told by one of his handlers, sir, impression would determine whether our guy will say yes to this interview or not. I was told. And so the guy told me, you need to be on your best behavior. I don't know what you will do, but it has to be your very best, or else Oga will kill this interview here and now. After us spending weeks, so we went to his house, and I sat in the car with my cameraman, and then the guy went out to tell him, Oga, they are here. And then all of a sudden, the guy came up, oh yeah, come, guys calling you, guys calling you. So we rushed out of the car, went quickly. It didn't take 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. He has sent it to, oh, okay, great. So can we do it tonight or can we do it tomorrow morning? But by the way, Nelson, I want us to have this interview. And then guess what? His wife was walking out of their living room into the compound where we were standing. Immediately he turned to his wife and said, I want you to submit to an interview to this young man. The wife looked at him and said, honey, are you sure what you're saying? He said, yeah, I'd like him to talk to you. The wife told me, you are the first person ever that my husband has approved to speak to me. I have never done a TV interview before. I have never been interviewed by anybody in life. You are the first. I don't know what you did to my husband for him to allow you to interview me. What happened in that moment? I was straight to the point. I was brisk. I had to know what to say at the right thing at the right time, and it gained the result I was looking for. You don't go there beating around the bush. And what are you trying to explain? Get to the point and deliver your message and get what you're looking for. So sometimes you don't have all the time in the world to go around long points. You want to get straight to the matter and hit it up. That's why sometimes emails are very short. They don't have time to read long story. If you get what I'm trying to say. So that's what I meant by think before you speak, because you can't withdraw what you've already spoken. You have to hit the nail on the head.
Now, there's a point where in the book, there's a parallels between visual designers who express themselves through their work and some individuals who communicate their purpose. Let's talk about how someone can sort of discover, or let's say articulate, their purpose to sort of enhance their communication.
Let me quickly talk about the visual work itself. I don't know, maybe it's because they don't have the privilege of speaking in that sense. And so all of their talk is in what they've been able to paint, or in an outfit they've been able to piece together. So we can mention big brands in the world. I don't want to mention anybody's name in that. So, but once a name is mentioned, whether it's in the art and craft or it's in fashion, you can quickly relate them to a particular thing. Even to airlines, for instance, if there's some airlines you mentioned, there's one that comes, oh, safety comes to your head. Oh, excellence in service comes to your head. Oh, quality delivery comes to your head, because of what they've been able to create as a brand of themselves. This is very important. I don't want to be confused by anybody that I represent this, that. I want to be a straight-jacketed person. And so when you think of me, one thing should come to your mind, and I want to be known as that. And so when I relate to people, whether it's at work or at home, at church, on the street, wherever I go, anything I do, in whatever forum or platform, I represent one brand. So that goes down also to your personality, to your attitude, to who you are as a person. You want to be identified as something. So for me, for instance, I want to be identified as somebody who is intelligent. I don't want to be a no. When I was in school, one of my lecturers used to call some foolish in quote, no. Instead of him saying you're foolish, you say you're no. I don't want to be identified as a no person. I want to have that reputation of Nelson is an intelligent guy. Meet him any day, anytime, anywhere. You can tell he's intelligent. That's one of the brands I want to put out there, so that when you call me on board of anything, you are sure intelligence is going to be imputed into this conversation, into this work. You are sure that excellence will be brought to the table. You are sure that quality will be brought here. And so your ability to express yourself like that creates a brand, creates a personality, and niches a spot for you to occupy that cannot be duplicitous, right? It can't be copied by any other person. You are unique in yourself, unique in how you are and in who you are. This is really important, because in the pursuit of your purpose and your vision in life, you have to be identified with something, so that when we want you, we know who we want. We don't want a two of your kind. I don't know whether I'm sounding too deep or too heavy now, but I'm trying to make this thing as simple as possible, so that when you are contracted to fulfill a particular thing, there's something unique about it. There's something you bring to the table that no one else can. For instance, Titi, we were all there at the maiden pageantry conference. You know what made Winfrey ask me to come to that conference when I was on your show on Wake Up Nigeria? She said to me, I have been looking for, she said that I've been looking for somebody who has the kind of knowledge about communication as you do. And I didn't know where to fetch that from until we're having this conversation now. That tells me that I have been able to create a unique place. I went to Unilag, right, to talk about this book to the librarian, the chief librarian. I've forgotten her name now. She was quite gracious to welcome me in. And when I spoke to her about the book, she said, okay, drop the book, we'll give it to our team to read, which she did. And then she contacted me much later and told me, wow, our team read the book. It is very unique. Just that, you know, it's not some sort of a curricula for the university to use. However, it's a book she would recommend to, you know, anybody to read as well. Now, as somebody in her status, she's a professor who has sat over books in her entire life. I mean, books upon books. She's not the type of person you want to preach books to. She knows books, you know. For her to have been able to look at this book and give it a place of itself, I was somewhat proud, but also humble. And that's the message I preach, if I can use the phrase preach. Ensure that you are unique in your person and communicate that uniqueness in a way that is not duplicitous, but special about yourself.
So, the way you front you about body language and how that affects.
Mhm. I didn't quite get all the questions, but I know you were talking about body.
Body.
You're talking about body language, am I correct? Body language. Okay, I think Titi is to ask me a question about body language. So if I can jump in here now. Body language is really important. You know, I look at leaders a lot. When I watch leaders, I don't just watch what they say, I also watch what they wear. I also watch how they carry themselves. So, for instance, now, the just concluded G20 summit in India, right? And you know, you look at global powers, you look at presidents and prime ministers and chancellors of different nations, right? How the way they swerve themselves across the room, the way they walls on each other, handshakes, eye contact, you know, the way they kiss this way. If we can call that a peg, you know, this way and that way. I look at all of that, and I mean it's so beautiful. For instance, I mean let's take UK, Britain for instance now, right? You look at the monarchy. You know the way they carry themselves with such panache and woo, I mean it just does something to me when I look at them. Your body language is very important. Very, because listen, you can be saying something with your mouth and doing something else with your hand. Body language science experts can tell us this, that what you're saying is not what you mean, because your body is interpreting something else from what your mouth is saying. And so this is really important. If you want somebody to take you seriously, you can't go around being a goofer. No, you can do that. You can't go around being a player. you have to be able to represent yourself in the most professional conduct as ever. It doesn't mean that you should always be formal, uptight, official, bony person. No. In being playful, you can still carry yourself with some level of charisma. In being, come on. So it's not always that you have to be fighting about it, or when we say carry yourself in a professional way, we're referring to you being serious. No. We're talking about you carry yourself in a way that you can be respected, even on your playground.
Mm, mm, mm. Now, the name of the book, one more time, is Act Like a Student, Speak Like a Boss. And this is what we've been talking about today with the amazing Nelson Etah. I've opened up the page before where you can find it. You can find it on Amazon.com. If you would like to pick up the book, you should try and get it yourself. I know that it's a good read because as soon as I picked it up, I had intentionally. Now let's see what you have here. Yeah, everything, all the information you need about how to get it is right there. So why not pick up this particular book? It's going to be worth the read.
Yeah.
Nelson, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. We have to have another session on this, but the session will probably, it won't just be about the book. It'll be about a particular aspect of the book.
Okay.
Speaking, on the global stage, I would love to talk about that. And I really want to talk about what the heart speaketh. I want us to talk about that as well. So I'm hoping that we can go deeper into those two topics, not essentially focusing on the book, but actually really addressing those issues, especially with regards to the generations we find ourselves mentoring these days. What do you think?
Absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree because them young ones, they need to know how to speak to the global community.
Yeah.
It's beyond social media. It's about registering your presence as a brand. That's a very powerful thing.
Nelson, thank you so much for joining us. We will be talking later. I can't wait to see you on air.
Thank you.
All right, then.
Thank you so much.
Once again, we had Nelson Etah, the author of Act Like a Student, Speak Like a Boss, a practical guide, a workbook guide to communicating with power and purpose. Now, you've been listening to and watching the On Air Book Club. My name is Titilayo Oyinson. If you would like to join us on the next edition, or you would like your book to be our focus for one of our upcoming interviews, why not just send us an email? dynamitepodcastnetwork@gmail.com. That's dynamitepodcastnetwork@gmail.com. And we will get back to you. All right, then. Until next time, stay blessed.